have to have a good grasp of numbers, a good grasp of whether or not they're making a profit.
I think to be successful, you have to have something unique. That doesn't necessarily need to be the product or service that you're providing. It could mean the way that it's delivered. And I think delivery is absolutely essential in the current environment in terms of actually maximising that customer satisfaction, that experience that the customer has in terms of what they're receiving from you. With very entrepreneurial businesses and with strong entrepreneurs leading them, financial literacy is second to almost the flair, the creativity in the business. What we find though is when the business reaches a certain capacity, and especially when maybe external financing is required, the actual providers of that finance are very insistent on making sure there is that financial rigour, financial literacy around the business. So at some stage it does actually become a prerequisite and actually can inhibit the business from growing if it's not in place.
I don't think the people running a business don't need to be accountants. They don't need to understand all the ins and outs of accountancy and finance, but they have to have a good grasp of numbers, a good grasp of whether or not they're making a profit. How much cash they've got at any point in time, understanding what a basic P&L and balance sheet looks like, understanding what their cost base is, what their fixed costs are, what their variable costs are, what their profit per customer is. So having a good grasp of finance is important, but you don't need to be a qualified accountant to do that.
A lot of businesses have a huge amount of information that is produced weekly, monthly, and probably just sits there either on the hard drive or sits there in hard copy on the desk. So making sure what your key metrics are in terms of measuring success, but then also what are the key metrics in terms of operational efficiencies as well. And actually, that could be just a handful. That could be literally 4 or 5 key metrics, and they're the ones to actually focus on. I think then, in terms of as the business evolves, it's making sure that the measures and the way that data is collected evolves in line with the business as well, so that you're measuring the right thing, especially when you're going down new product lines or new markets.